It's on.
Kurt! What's up? What's up? What's up? What them hours looking like?
Man, you got more hours than me for this week, bro. But I will say I do got some good stuff in the chamber. I got some approvals as I left work today. Got a nice little 20-hour, gravy bomb in the pocket for tomorrow. So that'll be nice. What about you, man? How's it been going this week, Mr. Half Schedule? You only work 3 days a week or whatever?
Well, Monday I got 9.5. Tuesday I got 8.5. So it was rough. And then today I got 10.5. So I mean it's the same, but it's all that's slow. Like that's not what I'm aiming for. Like I should be at like 40 hours for 3 days, but instead I'm at 27 hours for 3 days, and now I got to play catch up to hit 40 tomorrow. Now I got to get 13, which 13 would usually be my goal, but hey, we're not at it.
Hey,
But
13's a good goal. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember when I first started at Toyota, like I first went full flat rate, first went on heavy line, and I was like asking the group leaders, like, what's a good day look like? And they were like, oh, like anywhere from like 13 to 15 is a good day. And so that was my goal for the longest time was like 13 to 15 is a good day. That's my goal. That's what I'm going to be. And then now my goals are so unrealistic. It feels weird that it's so slow, and I'm like having my goals and I'm like having to reevaluate my whole goal process, if you will. But
yeah. I mean, usually I was always like 15. I was a 15 type of guy, but like with how it's been recently, I'm like, it's not realistic. So I'm gonna shoot for 13 every day. But here I am this week. I haven't hit that goal yet. So like, what do I have to reset, or do I have to strive for more? I'm gonna strive for more.
well, I'm hoping that you get some of more of those brake services. You know what I mean? You get some, learn a little bit more about how those brake jobs are created. Where's that labor come from?
Mm-hmm.
Who's in charge of that labor?
Who's in charge of that?
Who's setting that labor up? Is it
Could
the
it
service manager?
be? Yeah, could it be our guest that's coming in today, Mr. Austin Conroy, dealer plate?
I think he might be setting those awful labor times. Who sets brake jobs so low? Who does that?
Why
Man,
can't they be
but
4 hours aside?
4 hours aside. I mean, I guess he could tell us himself, because our guest today is that Mr. Austin Conroy, dealer guy, who just so happens to be a fixed ops director for multiple stores, one which includes a Toyota store. So I know Mr. J over here, he's going to be on him. Hey, why ain't those brake jobs paying no 4 hours?
Why? Why did you leave? Why did you change? What did I do wrong? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back on another episode of the WOTPod podcast, starring the best hosts in the world, me, Jalid, and Curtis right next to me. And we're starring a wonderful, famous, one of the most famous on social media, Conroy, also known as the dealer plate guy. Austin, thank you for being on. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. How are you doing?
Dude, yeah, it's an honor for me to be on with real technicians, because as people remind me in my comments, I just cosplay a technician, in the skits. So, no, excited to be here with you guys. It's cool what you're doing. And, I've listened to the last few episodes. I think it's episode 11. So that's cool, man. Just guys got to keep it rolling. So.
Yeah, it's nice for us because we get to hear from a different point of view that most technicians don't. So it's a little bit of a combo deal here for both of us, for all three of us.
Especially as a fixed ops director, a regional fixed ops director. I was looking at the LinkedIn and I was looking at your trajectory, and I'm just like, wow, he's come from sales and then hopped on to service. So can you give us a bit of insight on that and maybe like the storyline of your career?
Yeah. So short story. I went to college at a school called Indiana Wesleyan. They're a NAIA school here in Indiana. Marion, Indiana, not really famous for much in Marion. They have a big GM factory. They did. So maybe a little famous. But yeah, so I went to Indiana Wesleyan and I met Trey Rohrman, who is the grandson of Bob Rohrman, who started the Rohrman Automotive Group. And so, long story short, we played on the golf team together in college, and he kept trying to get me to come out and sell cars for him, and eventually 6 years after I graduated, I left what I was doing. I was a year into my marriage, and we moved to Lafayette, Indiana, which is where I'm currently at. And I started selling cars at Bob Orman Toyota for $400 a week draw. And, kind of the rest is history. So I did about 6 months on the sales floor, internet manager, new car manager, finance manager. And then, kind of one of the things I would say that where I really got lucky and being in a good situation, the Roman Auto Group, I can't say enough about, the great things of the Roman family and also the group, but, getting me the opportunity, might be the only person in the world who's ever went to bed a finance manager. And then I woke up a service manager. And so like, I do recognize that opportunity is like, nobody else is going to get that opportunity without, a couple people in leadership there, at Toyota being like, hey, we can't find a service manager in Lafayette, Indiana. It's like really hard. None of us know what it is. So like jump in there and figure it out, and I kind of have a background in like leadership and coaching and, building teams. And so I'm like, sure, whatever, finance is such an individual contributor role. I was okay at it, but I really guys, I hated it, to be honest with you. Like it was terrible. It takes a special personality, to do that role, to do it really well day in and day out. And so that's kind of the rest of history. So the Toyota store, we had quite a bit of success. I took over, I think it was about 3 months before COVID. No, probably like 6 months before COVID as a service manager. And so COVID was, I don't read in this too much, right? From a business standpoint, it was nice for me as a manager because I really got like a clean slate, because even I was furloughed. I think it was end of March of that year. Well, I came back and like essentially had to rehire the staff and restructure everything. And so we did that about a year after that. Everything was going really well. And, I went back to some of the leadership and I said, hey, could I help some of the other stores? I said, here's a couple things that I did here that worked. I want to see if they work somewhere else to prove them to myself. I wasn't asking for more money. I wasn't asking for, a bigger job or whatever, but that's what it turned into. And so, that's essentially the role that I have today. So as a fixed ops director.
Yeah, that's awesome that you were, you found something that worked as a service manager and you said, hey, can we bring this to some more stores? And they were like, yeah. And you were just doing it out of the goodness of your heart to help, the other stores and the people there. So that's really awesome because not a lot of people are willing to put themselves out there like that. And then going from a finance manager to now, 5 years later, 6 years later, you're knocking on the door of running multiple stores. Like that's really impressive. So props
it's
to you on
crazy.
that one.
Like I said, that was my lucky break, and that was a break of, we have a philosophy in leadership at the Roman Group that, we hire A players. We try to find the right seat on the right bus for people. We just moved a technician. I've moved a couple technicians to the parts department, and we've made a couple other moves where we've moved technicians up to be advisors, and different things. And so that's what we like to do, find the right seat on the bus for everybody. If you're a good person, if you show up to work, if you want to learn, if you want to grow, we want to find those opportunities for you. So, my background is very extreme, but I would say it's definitely not uncommon to see, people in our auto group having multiple jobs and ones that, hey, people don't normally transition from, this role to that role, but we kind of like doing that.
Yeah, it's in a unique fashion as well. And what happened?
Oh, you're cutting out. Yeah. All right, go for it again.
The Starlink's going out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I can't fix this. MDT, but I can't fix this. So kudos.
A Toyota MDT, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
But just
how hard that is. People don't realize how hard that one is to get.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, it's I don't know. I feel like it ain't too hard, but I mean, if you're willing to chase it.
Compared to some of the other manufacturers I know, it's hard. Well, because it's 5, you have to be 5 years, right?
Yeah. You have to be 5 years. So technically, if we're looking at it from like time-wise, tenure, I don't have my tenure, but I have all my certifications. And
Perfect.
I got it at like the 2.5 year mark. So I mean,
awesome.
I just call myself an MDT. Even though
you're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game.
Hey, me and Kurt, man. Yeah. Kurt's ahead of the game as well. I mean, but like I was saying, I was wondering, like, how are technicians going about, like, even trying to move into different directions, and how do you handle it, and how do you guide them through it?
Yeah, so I set up, and this was like when I first came in my role. Obviously everyone talks about the technician shortage, and like that's such a hot topic. Um, but what I established, like as a regional fixed ops director, I have about 65 technicians that are quote unquote under me, in the structure. And so the structure I set up like twice a year. I sit down with every single technician, and I have a one-on-one with them. And
Yeah.
these one-on-ones could be 15 minutes, could be 30 minutes, could be 45 minutes. Like it, I'll be honest with you guys, it is a grind, and it takes me a long time to get it done. But I also have a career path structure that I'm still redefining, like 3.5 years later for each manufacturer of, hey, we have entry level techs, we have level 1, level 2, level 3, and then master technicians in terms of like a pay scale. So, the more certifications that you get, like there's that promise twice a year that we're going to sit down and review that and say, hey, here's what the next 6 months look like. Hey, here's, you're getting an extra $2 raise this time, $2 raise this time, $2, So that was one of the things I think that has really helped in having those conversations. You really get to know the technicians and know the heart behind them. And like, you can tell when they're getting burnt out, or, hey man, this like shoulder thing, it's not getting any better. Like I need something different, or, hey, the back's doing it. And so, there's creative ways to get around it. Some of the things that we've done, move them to advising, maybe even as part-time, maybe they're a technician for a couple days a week, and then they help us advise on the weekends or something, right?
Yeah, that's pretty
Get
cool.
creative like
That's
that.
definitely pretty cool.
We have like used cars where, if you have an older technician that, hey man, he can diagnose it and put the recs in, and then he can have one of the younger guys under him building it. Now, not only am I catering to, the older technician just in terms of the physical abilities, but I'm also catering to the young guys because they're getting trained up now. Because they're watching him do the inspection, they're doing the used car drive with him, and then they're getting their hours because they're building the cars for him, right? So it's all these things that just like take the person for the person, and like their career with your company. Again, if you're a good person with us, like we want you to stay. Now, not to say people haven't left, for more money or other things. I mean, it happens, right? But to the extent that we can, we love to cater to that and move people around if it makes sense.
Now, where have these ideas of career development been soaked up from? Because I'm getting a lot. Like, where did this come from?
I don't know. I mean, I think I just looked at like, I know that technician role is so pivotal. And then again, just sitting down with them and listening to them and like hearing the frustrations, because, in every frustration, there's some bit of truth. There may be some emotional baggage that you got to sort through, but there is something in there that like we can solve a problem that's causing that frustration, right? I can't solve your attitude. I can't solve you showing up to work on time. That's kind of on you. But, I can solve the fact that like, hey, I haven't had a raise in 2 years. What is going on? I had master techs, 3 years ago that I very close to doubled their pay when I came in, because I was like, these guys haven't had a raise in like 4 years, and I think it's just like, it's the system, it's the structure, right? And so I look at the market value of like what they present, and it's like, okay, we need to raise their pay. Like, it was wild to me. So I'm like, I don't want that to happen. And I heard so many technicians saying, Austin, we would love to do the training. We would love to become an MDT. We would love to like do all the ASCs and grind and do all that stuff. But like, what do we get out of it? And at the end of the day, like the dealer probably gets more out of the certification, especially like a smaller shop, because you have to have X certified people, in the shop to even keep the dealer agreement. The dealer gets more out of it necessarily than the technician a lot of times. So that was where, kind of viewing through that lens of like, I want these guys to progress in their career, but like, they're not going to do it if there's no reward for it. And so kind of building that system out and the structure, and it's been rough too, because I've had, and I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this, how you can help me. There's those technicians that they can't pass an ASE. Like there's some of us that they're not good test takers, and that's fine. Like I would rather them to be able to wrench. I can deal with those guys. That's easy. The ones that are harder to deal with are the ones that like super book smart ASEs, but like they're not doing any more than like an induction service and a brake fluid exchange. Like, I don't want them doing anything else, but those guys are saying, hey, on paper, I should be this level. Like, well, dude, I can't even give you can't do an engine, you couldn't do a transmission. You couldn't do some of these bigger jobs. I mean, well, I don't know. How do you handle that?
Got to be that. It's got to be that hands-on training. I mean, if in that situation, it'd be something like, have they learned with one of those master techs that you do trust? Or they're spending time and they're just not retaining the information? Are they just going out to get that big ticket or that gravy ticket, and they're not giving themselves the ability to learn or wanting to learn? Kind of those things. It's like the test. You can't really force them to learn it. It's one of those things that if you make it important enough to you, maybe it becomes important enough to them.
Yeah. And that's where I've had to like define what mechanical skills make up the different levels, right? Because on paper, the guy could say, hey, I should be an A tech or a master tech because I've passed all the ASEs and all this stuff. But it's like, okay, well, we both know, a level 1 technician should be able to do this, or they should be hybrid certified. You should be able to do these recalls, and like, you can't do those recalls. So it's been like a blessing and a curse with that structure and being very transparent with it.
Yeah, I feel like you could hold them off for a certain amount of time, especially with telling them about their tenures. Like how am I supposed to pay you this when you can only do this and you've only been wrenching for this long? Like if they are like obviously doing those big jobs and they only have a short amount of tenure, like, oh yeah, go for it. I'll treat you and I'll pay you as much as I'm paying somewhat close to the other guy. But if they're not putting all that kind of physical work into it and not showing an emphasis on it, then yeah, you could definitely hold them off on just the fact that, hey, look, man, I'd love to pay you this amount, but currently on this tenure, I can't pay you the same amount as these guys. Like, try to put your shoes in a 40-year-old technician's shoes. Like, I can't do that for you. So I don't know. Like, a bit of transparency with the pay could also help if they even have that in their mind, because some people are just kind of blind to it and they're just like me, feed me. So it's like,
it's led to some like, I thought, oh, it's gonna be a great thing. Nobody's gonna complain about it. It's led to some really tough conversations, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's been so good. And the stories that I really wanted to recreate, some of the master technicians that they start as porters. And I love those stories of like, man, I started as a 17-year-old porter washing cars and detailing. And then they said, hey, can you help us on Saturday? Because we're short lube techs, and then they get into it and they fall in love with it and they progress and get better. And, so I'm hoping to recreate that. We have a couple guys right now that we hired off of a sign that we put on the road. You always hear about it, right? Like, I was like, oh, try it. Stick a sign in there, right? Like hiring technicians. These two guys walk in. They both still work for our Hyundai store, and they're both. It's been like 3.5 years. One of them is a master technician. The other one's very close to it. So it's kind of cool. Like that's the kind of stuff that as a business, like you want to create that.
A technician shortage.
Yeah, I was gonna say is you talked briefly about technician shortage, and then that some of those things you're doing to retain and encourage your technicians. I don't want to glaze too far over that because it's extremely important, and a lot of people could learn from what you're doing there with the transparency, the one-on-ones. I mean, just those two things alone feels like half the dealerships out there aren't even doing those.
Yeah, and it is weird. I mean, it's really just this grow your own mentality, which I've talked to other guys, in my position, and it seems like a 50-50 kind of thing. Some of the guys, they're maybe in bigger metro markets where they don't have to do it. There's a store that I help with in Indianapolis, much different market than an hour north in Lafayette, where I spend most of my time. The Indianapolis market, like the biggest difference, how I explain to you guys, in hiring a technician, I can post a certified Hyundai technician ad in Indianapolis and actually get a certified Hyundai technician that applies. If I post that in Lafayette, Indiana, where I spend most of my time, they aren't certified. They're not like, you know what I mean? So I think it goes back to that, where I think these smaller market dealers and maybe dealers that have had a lot more competition, they have to figure this out. But I knew I needed a system to widen my hiring funnel and be able to hire these quick lube guys because, there's some very talented kids that are doing quick lube. but they hit the ceiling super fast. So can we try to steal them or get them to apply to a job and get them in the system before they get burnt out and go do something else, right? So that's been a part of the success too, with some of that. So the technician shortage thing, I mean, yeah, it is. Like, culturally, it's the trades just in general are not praised as much as they should be, and especially if you can see what AI is going to do. The trades are probably where we need to spend a little more time focusing and more energy on it too.
Yeah, hopefully conversations like this where you're just talking straight up about it and being honest and saying, hey, we just need a little bit more attention here is how you get it. And say technicians and all the physical labor trades really just need like, hey, we need to focus a little bit more here because in 5 years, this is going to be way more important than it is today. And you got shops that can't fill those spaces and you got young kids that don't want to do it. It's like, you're going to fix those cars.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully people can like hear my heart behind it. Cause I know the skits are, you may or may not get that from them, like the comedy or whatever. I don't even consider it really comedy. It's just like, that's what happens at most places. So I laugh at it, but my heart behind it is like, I'm just making fun of the people that are doing that because it's just not, it's not right.
Yeah, indeed. Nah, those skits are hilarious. I love watching them, bro. Especially like the talk, like a toxic version of a service manager. It's just like, bro, that is so funny, man.
Yeah, I'm curious, like what I try to do a good blend of like mechanic. So when I got the mechanic shirt, I was just like, I need to add because TikTok, when you're monetized on TikTok, over a minute is how you make money off TikTok. I don't know if you guys knew that. If you get 10,000 followers on TikTok, you can be in the creator program. Then you have to make videos that are over a minute, and then they pay you per 1,000 views. So that was kind of the thing. I hit that in December of last year, and so as I got man, I need to get more views and more watch time and different things. I was like, let me get a technician shirt and let me break it up. The skits, break them up into 3 mini skits. So then I can show an advisor greeting a customer and then going back to a technician, or however it works. So they're fun. They're fun for me to do. And obviously they've gotten a huge reaction, which I don't know if I really expected, especially some of the videos that do super well. It still blows my mind. But yeah, it's fun.
It's very impressive, the creativity, because like you said, it's all real. It's mostly based off real stuff that you've just turned funny. And then we all laugh because we're like, yeah, that's us. We've seen that. Yeah. And kind of talking about that, it's like you haven't been doing this for very long, just over a year. So kind of curious, how did things get started? Whose idea was it? And where did things really begin to take off for you?
Yeah, good question. So I didn't really do much with social media. This has probably been, I'll go back almost 2 years ago. And I met some guys at a car dealership guy at the NADA show, and ended up, they signed a deal with Russ Flips Whips. And I'm like, dude, this could be really interesting. And so it was kind of just this weird chance event that we were kind of talking about doing social media training. And then we had this online beef that started with Russ that was super organic. And then anyway, so he comes out to our store, to one of the stores in the Bob Roman Toyota store, and did this Plinko sales thing with us. And then he also trained the staff on social media when he was out there, because he kind of needed a practice run of what his social media training was going to be. And I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you probably know or heard of Russ Flips Whips.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Maybe seen some videos, right? And
sure.
That's what he does now, full-time training, but going back to it. So he and I, hung out that day, and we just had a special connection. He's just a good dude. And for some reason, he's one of those guys, we just connected right away. And so then he's like, dude, you need to do social media. So I'm like, no, I'm a director, dude. what am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. So then he was going to come out to our Schaumburg Honda store in Chicago, which by square footage is one of the largest Honda stores in the country. And so right before that, I thought, I need to start my own account, and so I can do a video with Russ. That was the whole thing. So 2 weeks before that event, we had a podcast we're kind of reviving now called Driving Relationships Podcast. One of the names we threw around was the Dealer Plate Podcast. So it was the name that I came up with. I want to do it. Hopefully nobody steals it, whatever. So then I was like, why don't I just be dealer plate guy? And okay, cool. So I do dealer plate guy. I post, my third video that I posted was a lube tech interview. So again, like kind of just making fun of how people hire lube techs. And it went super viral, like 1.3 million views, 1.5 million views on TikTok. And then when I got the Instagram and Facebook connected and posted on there, like it did another 3 million views on there. And I'm like, well, this is kind of fun. Like, you know, people like this and whatever. So then I made some content with Russ, and then it really, a little over a year ago, I found out you can make money on TikTok. And I'm like, you know what? That's going to be my goal. I want to get to 10,000 followers. And I think it would just be so cool, like kind of be funny that I could call myself an influencer. Like I make money off TikTok videos. And then it happened. And to this day, I still I cannot believe it happened. You know, now it's like brands are reaching out to me to like pay me to make videos for them. Like, this is so weird. But it was kind of just one of those things where, you know, you look back on it, and at the time it was kind of like, yeah, let me just do it. Whatever. We'll just have fun with it. It wasn't man, I really want to do this and pour my heart into it. It just kind of evolved, you know, right there in front of me.
Oh, I remember seeing it, bro. I remember seeing it like when I was like yeah, it was last year around this time. I mean, the Lube Tech one. I remember seeing it. And then like I'm looking at your I was looking at your page, and I'm like, bro, this is pretty funny. And then out of nowhere, I see it take off and take off and take off. And the next time you look at your page, you're at like 50,000 followers. And the next time you look at it, 70, and then now 90. And I'm just like, bro, the growth has been insane. Like it's crazy. Yeah, because it's been like a year and a half for me, and I'm like stuck at 30, and then you've just shot up to 90, and I'm like, dang, bro, I got my butt whooped, bro. I feel like I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at it in a competitive way, but I was like, yeah, like you have been putting in such great work, dude. Your videos are great. I watch them all the time. They are awesome, and they're a blessing to the automotive community.
I think the next thing for me, and I've actually been like thinking about this now. Because like I said, it really just kind of evolved, and it's easy for me. You know, I film one night a week. I do from like 5 to 7 p.m. Logan and I film, you know, at the dealership after hours. I typically edit the videos that night, and then I post them throughout the week. So like, there's been some weeks where actually not too long ago, I went like 2 weeks without filming because we got 7 or 8 skits done that night, and now they're pretty easy just because that's all I've done for a year. But I really need to start adding in like kind of that day in the life stuff or some of these conversations and try to figure out, that's my next challenge, like try to figure out how to get those to have, they're not going to have the same reach as the skits will. Like the entertainment content will always have more reach. It's always going to have more likes. It's always going to have more engagement, you know, but like to maybe now I'm like, I have to use this platform because, you know, the motto I came up with was making fun of an industry I'm trying to change. So for me, I feel like 2026 is that like the change has to happen. I've done the making fun of it part, and it's gone over really well. I've had some great feedback of, man, the one I just did with the keys in the drop box that went nuts.
Oh, that one's hilarious.
In the envelope. Dude, that happened to me one time. Right. And so like, these are all things that have like happened to me, and people learn better by mistakes. I feel like seeing the mistakes. And so it was so many people in the comments that were like, wow, you made me agree with the customer. Like, yes, that was the point. And then people were like DMing me like, I'm checking my Dropbox to make sure it has envelopes right now. And like every night before I leave, I'm going to check it. So that's the kind of thing is like, hey, it is like actually changing the industry, like putting something out there like that. Because people are like, oh crap, you know, we need to check this now. I don't want that to happen to me. But that's probably one of the favorite videos I've ever done. That one turned out so good.
Yeah, I think you're right in saying, you know, the entertainment content has such a big hit, and it's you've built that around it. So is it, you know, it's almost like thinking is it possible to stay that creative manner that you have and be helpful in the same way, just like you did in that one video? And it might, you know, take a little time to dig deep, but it sounds like that could be the key to the future for you, is still keep it funny, because that's you. I mean,
yeah. I think it's like, it's not a matter of like, totally changing the content. I think it's adding to it, right?
Yeah.
So posting the skit, and then maybe I post a video, where I'm walking around talking about like the reason behind it, or something like that. Or maybe there's a comment that I pick out and I reply to it. But Russ has always been pushing me. He and I are really, really good friends now, and he's helped me a lot with the content and different things. He wants me to always do more than what I'm doing in different videos, and he's like, you got to do educational stuff. You got to do this. I'm like, Russ, dude, I got 4 kids. I got a demanding job. Like this, I got to do like one night a week. I'm just doing my skits and I'm good for now. But, I'm realizing now that the platform that's been built and the attention it's got, like, whoa, I got an opportunity here to, do some good stuff and get good messages out there.
Yeah, I think you like you said, that podcast idea is a good floating idea. And I know his name is escaping me, but I know his handle of Bends and Bow Ties, where he just did the same thing, where his content is informative in a unique way, and now he's doing the podcast, and it's like there's opportunity there, and I'm excited to see. Just hearing it from you now is excited to see how you use it in the way that you've said with helping the industry get better, because we all know we could always use a positive push.
Yeah, and that's one of my fears. Honestly, with the content that I'm doing now is people don't know my heart behind it. And I don't get caught up in the comments anymore. I feel like you could say whatever you want to me and like it doesn't matter anymore, right? So that's been one of the good outcomes of it. But when I make a skit where a guy walks in with a tech shirt, you hiring mechanics, and then goes on and says the stereotypical things. Like, I hope people can just kind of see how ridiculous that is and like make the switch of, oh wow, I've been in my manager's office saying like waiter's gonna wait. That actually doesn't sound good, when I put it out there. Like, that's probably not what I should. So like, that's my hope. But I know there are some people like stealerships, you're terrible, blah blah. Like, whatever.
Please everybody. Not everybody's gonna have a good experience.
No.
There's some bad days and there's some good days. I mean, we just gotta try and make the best of each situation we can.
Yeah.
How do you end up managing in your time as a service manager, when you were like more over the top of your service advisor and your technicians? How do you kind of manage and take care of their relationship, make sure they're not butting heads too much?
Ah, man, great story. So my management style, if someone has an issue with someone else, they end up in my office with me and we talk about it. It's as simple as that. Like,
just deal with it before it turns into something crazy.
That's what it is. We sit down. Hey, do you hate him? No. Do you hate him? No. We got to work together. Like, figure this out. You guys frustrated about that? Whatever. Like, what are you going to take responsibility for? Okay. What are you going to take responsibility for? Okay. How is this not going to happen again? Like, I've dealt with so many things, but it's like at the end of the day, it just comes down to conversations, because they're going to go spread rumors on the east end of the shop. The other guy's going to go spread rumors on the west end of the shop. But guess what? We're going to be in a huddle at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So we got to figure it out. Like, let's get in a room together and let's talk about it, because nobody wants to work here when you got that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, indeed. 8 a.m. huddles? We're doing
So you asked when I was a service manager what I did. I had an issue with some of the techs wanting to get there a little late. And, we get, I don't know if your shop's like this. You get
flat rate.
Always, huh?
It's flat rate for them, sir.
You always get, yeah. So it's another skit idea, right? You're late. I'm flat rate.
I'm flat rate for them, sir.
So when I'm trying to like load the shop, obviously in the morning, there's more people in the mornings than there are in the afternoon. I feel like that's just 99.9% of dealerships. Like, the afternoon, you're finishing your upsells, PDIs, other stuff that might carry over. But that morning is like the heavy customer pay work. And that's when customers want to come in, because, I feel like they can get that over with and then they can finish their day. They don't want to finish their day, at the shop. So I needed guys to get there, because like I had people I wanted waiters at 7:30 when we opened. Well, historically, they only were there at 8. So it was kind of a culture shift. Yeah, they would do drop-offs between 7:30 and 8. So your first waiters would come at 8.
And the day started at 7.
Well, opened the doors at 7:30.
Oh, okay.
and 8 o'clock, like I said, 8 o'clock was your first waiters. And so anyway, part of that was like, I'm going to have a huddle at 8 o'clock and make sure guys there. So I learned that I need to preload the bays, right? Because there is no point in me having the flat rate techs there at 8 o'clock if they don't have a car in their bay till 8:30. I agree with that. 100%. I agree with that. There's absolutely no reason. So like, it's my responsibility and the service advisor's responsibility to get those bays loaded, you know? So when the techs came in at 8 o'clock and every single one of them had a car, you know, maybe a PDI ticket on their desk or something else, like they're like, okay, I'll show up a little early. So then I started doing the huddles. So one of the things I did with the huddles was every minute you were late was 10 push-ups. And you guys might be saying, like, nobody did those. No, they did them because the guys were like, oh, he's serious. Like, he's serious about it. But we had one day, guy showed up 18 minutes late. I'll never forget it. So I'm like, 180 push-ups. They're like, bro, come on. I go, all right, here's the deal. As a team, we have to do 180 push-ups. So does anyone else want to help? You know, and that was like, we go around the circle and everyone's like, I'll do 20, I'll do 15, I'll do. So we added up to 180. You know, we all did push-ups. Like that's some of the team building stuff. So it's like, how do you take accountability, but also build the teams and like have it make sense? And so that's, again, kind of a nuanced of, I would say like managing the technicians and some of that stuff. So, but you do have to be realistic. Like going back to your point, flat rate tech, why would I show up at 8 o'clock if I don't have anything to work on until 8:30 or 8:45? That doesn't make any sense. I'll watch dealer play guy videos until you give me a car. You know?
Yeah, I know when it's slow, that's the last thing you want to do is show up early. But I know this is probably just going to be, you know, far and few between, but you get certain techs that want to show up early because they get the first ticket too. I know there's some of those guys out there.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. Like, I really like the way you put that together and like held accountability. And then you were able to like put it through the team and say, okay, now it's like a teamwork thing. How can we use this to kind of build a stronger bond between people? And that also holds those techs accountable for the techs next to them. Like, hey, like you don't want to do your push-ups because then I'm gonna have to do push-ups with you. And
yeah,
so
I'm just surprised you got that many people to do push-ups. Like, you telling me you got 40-year-olds that have been in the industry for that long, like, to do push-ups?
I mean, I didn't say any of the old dogs did push-ups. I didn't say that.
I did
a few.
No
I did
way. I was about to say, like, I'll be surprised because in my shop, man, I don't know. Like, I would definitely do them if my service manager, because I'm like, I mean, I like working out. I really don't care. And I mean,
yeah.
I'm young and I can obviously take some crap from an older guy, but I was about to say, if they all the same age, I feel like someone have an ego.
The old dogs don't show up late though. Yeah. They never show up late. So they were never on the hook for any. They're like, I'm always here at 7:05. So, you know.
I like it.
Come in my street clothes, you know, and change and then settle in my bay for 30 minutes, drink my coffee before I get a car.
I know, right?
And you don't want to talk to him before any of that happens either.
No, you don't.
Nice and grumpy.
Yep. Nah, I know a couple people in my shop get there early and end up reading books and stuff, just prepping themselves for the shift and prepping themselves for gravy or BS warranty. So whichever one comes, when that comes. How do you feel about warranty times? And have you seen during the course of your career they gradually get lower, or, you know, how do you feel?
It was funny because you know, in a management capacity, I've made decisions to change labor rates for customer pay things. That's challenging to communicate, and like one in particular were brakes, and I remember alignments. You know, we had to make some adjustments in terms of profitability. However, you know, we also like have a culture where, you know, we have a certain gross profit percentage that we're trying to hit, you know, from a financial standpoint. But if we get above that, depending on where that level is, that means that we need to give raises to the technicians. You guys know, you understand what, like, do you want me to explain what gross profit is in a service department? Would that be helpful?
That'd be helpful.
Yeah, I mean, because there's plenty of people that don't know, so go for it.
Okay, so very easy. Sales. So you sell a job for $100. You're paying your technician $30. What's left over is 70. That is your gross profit. The gross profit that you make is what needs to pay your expenses for the rest of the shop, like the rent, the light, utilities, your service advisors, all that stuff. So gross profit, percentage, we want to hold X amount of percent of that so that we can pay our bills, and then we have some left over for the owners, because the owners want to make money.
Yeah, sure.
And they should. Their name's on the door, right? We want to do good for them. So this is where it can get a little toxic, because aftermarket shops and dealerships are trying to attain different gross profit percentages. And, so that can lead to some toxicity when it comes to technician pay, whether their, shops are holding technicians back, not paying them enough. They're trying to, raise labor rates, so high that they're trying to hit these expectations and everything. So that's a different discussion for like another day. And I don't even know how I got on that tangent. So you guys are gonna have to bring it back to earth, but that is gross profit and how you calculate it.
How, when you go about raising the labor rates and maybe adjusting some of the things that techs get paid on, what are some of the challenges that you've run into and how you communicate that to the team, whether it's good or bad?
Okay, yeah. So that's where I got off on the tangent. So if I'm adjusting something like, let's say brakes, like brakes and rotors, and I'm trying to, because what I'm trying to do is get that at a competitive price. There's certain items as a dealership, I need to be competitive. My brands are Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia. So those are extremely competitive brands. And, those are that customer base, not necessarily the Audis, I would say, but, that customer base of the Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Kia customer, like they'll go to a Jiffy Lube. They will go to a aftermarket shop, that's right down the road from us. And they are truly price conscious. So I want to make sure that my entry level oil changes, tire rotations, wipers, batteries, brakes are competitive. And so when you have to do that, I think anytime you have to make a really tough change like that, you have to communicate the full picture of it. So brakes, let's say I'm reducing those 2/10. I'm also going to be reducing my part pricing. That also is going to affect the service advisors depending on their pay plan. So I think communicating all of that, but saying, hey, look, guys, we're going to try this for 60 or 90 days. Here's the prior 60, 90 days, how many brakes jobs we've sold, whatever that labor operation is. We're lowering this to be more competitive. Let's see how many we sell over the course of the next, 60 or 90 day period. And so when you can prove that, hey, we're selling more, we're selling 50% more, 30% more, you can back into the math and be like, okay, hey, I used to get one brake job a week. Now I get two. Yeah, he took off 2/10, but like overall it's adding, like the price change is working, and understanding like I'm not just taking from the text to take from the text. Like we're trying to get this to a price point that affords our profitability to still pay our bills, make a little bit of money on those at the end of the day, because those aren't the ones that you make, the majority of the money on. And even communicating like, hey, the gross profit percentage of, when we get up a couple percentage points above our expectation, like we know, hey, we have some room to give out some raises. So then when we have those sit down conversations with them twice a year, we know we have money that, we can afford to give some of the raises. So that's like a very in-depth kind of full circle way of, managing shops. And there's still going to be some emotions. Like I remember there's one technician, I still joke with him. Like anytime I come by and he's got a set of rotors and pads, it's like, hey, we don't sell brake jobs though. Remember we lowered the labor times and we don't sell the brake jobs. Because it did work at the end of the day. But the intention again is like not to take away someone's pay. And if it didn't work to sell more, then let's just go back to the way it was. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Well, what was the time that it was lowered to? If you don't mind.
See, I don't want to get into that because then we get,
Yeah,
we get arguing about a bunch of stuff. But
what
do you think? What do you think brakes and rotors should pay?
Okay, so just no machining, just rotors and pads.
Just replace them.
1.5.
Yeah, so that's what they're at. Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It went from like 1.8 to 1.5, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, shoot. I mean, that's perfect. I mean, it's gonna take what, 20 minutes?
So anytime they would say that, they would say
that.
that to me. I was like, oh, so wait, so I should do like 0.4.
So you should do
and then Tech 99 will pay him 1.1.
Ooh.
Tech 99 is the house tech. I don't know
Yeah, the house. Yeah, Tech 999.
I would always joke about it too. Like the guys would turn in the flag sheets and like, hey man, I was short like 3 hours, and I was like, Tech 99 had those. Like, yeah, Tech 99.
That's funny.
It's nice to hear you explain it, because Jay and we're very interested in that kind of stuff, and so we take it upon ourselves to learn about it through our dealerships and our service manager and stuff. But there's so many people out there that don't take into account what you just said, what you explained, and then how you explained it is, wow, you actually lowered the time on one job. They sold another one for the whole month, so they actually made more hours overall. And it's just like, I think so many people could benefit from just being transparent and being honest and explaining, hey, we're going to try it. If it doesn't work, we'll go back. But it ended up working in this simple example. And it's just like that simple conversation could go so much further in the industry. And it's awesome to hear it from someone who deals with that every day, from a different point of view, because I know you've seen the comment section. The technicians out there, they're vicious.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's also, I think, a matter of like how technicians are perceived and treated a lot of times too. I'll admit that. There's some great shops. There are some great aftermarket shops. There's some great dealerships. But at the end of the day, like, it's a very tough job, and it is not a job that a lot of people can do, but a lot of service managers will say, I can replace you tomorrow. Really? That's not helpful. So again, it's just like all the toxicity just gets all wound up. But going back to the change management, the toughest part, when you make a change like that, managing the emotions of the change. And like a lot of times, you have to do that with facts, you have to do that with data. And so that's what I found is you pull the 60-day sales of those. Now you are going to pull the rest of the 60-day sales. Like, you're going to follow up with that and actually make the connection with the techs and be like, hey, overall we sold X amount of more hours as a shop on brake jobs because we sold a few more than what we did at the old labor times. And we can trace it back to that change that we made. So, and then it's like, anytime you make a change, it's not like, I remember tire rotations. So this is a hot topic. Like 0.5 for a tire rotation.
Hold up. Hey, we talking about a tire rotation alone, or we talking about with an oil change? See, I got to go outside, rack the car up, bring it inside.
Tire rotation alone.
Tire rotation alone.
Like, what should that pay?
0.3. I believe 18. I believe it should be 0.
So this is, I'm gonna have some fun with you. So if a technician came to you off the street and said, Jay, I'm a great technician, bro, you got to hire me. I can do tire rotations in 18 minutes. What would you say?
Too long.
No. See, it's a difference. You talking about tire rotation alone, but me in my head, since I'm a dealership technician, I'm already thinking about a thorough multi-point inspection, a thorough MPI, a video inspection as well, and recommendations in for the customer.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about no regular tire rotation. He can have his regular tire rotation. I'm gonna give you an inspection on your vehicle.
Hey, I think 0.3 is the number for just a tire rotation anyway. We agree with that, but if it's like 0.4, 0.5, like, come on, really?
Yeah, you don't really need all that.
Hey, I can do tire rotations, so that's all you need to know. But no, I'm just
kidding. It's funny because y'all both are like Toyota, familiar in Toyota,
Yeah.
and I actually used to work for Toyota a while ago, and moving from Toyota to Audi is crazy. Simple stuff like a tire rotation or brake jobs or stuff like that, and just seeing the couple tenths of a difference and how that ends up over time. It's just interesting. It's always interesting to me to hear, stuff like that, like 0.3 or 0.5. And it's like, how that adds up over time and how technicians feel about it. And you mentioned the emotions of technicians. And would you say that's probably the hard part of being a manager of like a service department, not just technicians, but the whole group?
Yeah, I definitely would not single technicians out with that. Like managing people is tough because of emotions. Like you're constantly managing emotions and performance, and that's what makes roles in management tough. In particular, when it comes like people working together and people who aren't hitting goals, or you're trying to make a tough change that you think's for the better of the shop. Those leadership decisions, or hey, this person should work here, this person should not work here. Those are the tough things. I think maybe some managers are better than me where they can just let that you know wash over them, but like I hold on to it. Like if I know I need to make a decision with somebody, and let's say on Friday I'm like, man, I need to let this person go, like it's time. That weekend is tough for me because I'm constantly thinking about it, until like Monday morning comes, we can let them go. It's like those are tough conversations to have. But on the flip side, you get to have a lot of awesome conversations with technicians, like I mentioned earlier, that I remember came in on my sign that said now hiring, that we put in the sidewalk grass, and now they're master techs. So like it makes it all worth it. But
No, yeah, 100%.
Jay's just like, he's like, man, I liked you until we started talking about labor times.
Nah, what you mean? Nah, this is good transparency, and we agreed on the time.
I know. That's what I said. I love
I'm
giving you a hard time for it, and then still paying you 0.3.
Nah, I'm also wondering, like you said, you mentioned on like the outlook on technicians. Like, let's say a customer sees that they paid like 1.5 on but did the internet just cut out on me while I was talking?
A little bit, but not enough.
Okay,
not a lot. I mean,
all right. The customer comes in, they see that they pay 1.5 for a brake job, but they know the technician finished it in like 20, 30 minutes. How do you explain the worthwhile, and how do you explain the transparency between the customer? Like, what's the
you guys don't have to deal with that crap. Hey, here's where it gets really bad. Talk about those gravy tickets. Like a guy comes in at 2:00 as a waiter, and you sell him a fuel system service, a brake fluid exchange, like maybe front brakes, rotors, and then it's like done by 4, and the guy's like, oh, thanks, and then he calls you the next day and like, hang on a second, now you have to explain. You can do those things simultaneously, like this is flat rate, this is just how the billing works. I know some shops that hide the hours. Like we don't do that, but there's shops that like hide hours on repair orders for that exact reason, because like they don't want to have to explain it. Another one that's gotten me in trouble for talking about is like the labor grids that people do. Have you heard of these, the door rate grids?
So like the matrix pricing?
Mm-hmm. Not parts matrix, labor matrix.
I know a little bit about it at the dealership that I'm at, but not enough.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily agree with the practice. It's one of the things that I think is wrong with the industry. So Jay's a little confused. I'm going to explain it. So essentially, if you come into my shop to get work done, not my shop, but one of the shops that's doing the labor grid, if it's $180 an hour, that is good until the first 2 hours. Then on hour 3, it goes to $181.50. Then hour 5, maybe it goes to $184.52. So like as more hours are produced, the door rate goes higher. And most times starts at the posted door rate, and then we'll go over it. Now, here's my issue with it. At the end of the day, who pays our bills? The customer. Do you think you could honestly sit down in front of a customer and explain to them that the more hours of work they do with us, the more they pay for labor, and that they would be okay with it?
No, that sounds retarded.
Nobody has ever given me an answer to that. Because when I get into some fairly heated debates about it, I have in the past, and that is like my closing line. I said, that's fine, guys. I have yet, and if you successfully do this, I will change every single one of my stores to a labor grid. I want to see somebody do it. Sit down with the customer and say, hey, Mr. Customer, I know our posted door rate's 180. That's good for the first 2 hours. Because this is hour 5 or 6 that you're with us because we're doing a transmission or like a torque converter or something, 8, 9 hours. You're actually gonna be paying like $205, for those hours that are up there. That's fine, right? Like, wait a second, I should be getting a discount the more hours I do with you guys. So,
Yeah, it's
that
I've
one
never
gets me in
been a
trouble.
fan of it either, and maybe not for the same reasons. I mean, as a tech, you think of it of one side, and as a manager, you think of it as a different side, and then as a customer, you're going to see it from a different side. And so my main thought process has been from a technician side, and I don't like it for the reason that it's harder to sell jobs, and it's like, okay, if the dealership's making more money, where does that go? And then it's like thinking of how that's divvied out. You talked about profit and stuff like that, but to the point is, you're never going to explain that to a customer. That's never going to go over well. You're going to be like, you're paying more for spending more. That's backwards.
And that's when the conversation always ends. When I have it with people, it's like that. I mean, I'm waiting for somebody. I hope somebody sees this and is like, calls me and, hey, Austin, I'm going to present it to you. It'll make sense to you. But the reason they do that, it's an easy way to gamify the system for a warranty rate increase is the reason that they do it. What I've done before is like, I'm fine having a separate EV rate. I'm fine having a separate hybrid door rate. I'm fine having a separate heavy mechanical door rate, which, by the way, aftermarket shops have heavy mechanical rates that are typically lower than their posted door rate. I know one in town that's like a 160 for standard jobs, and then if it's a heavy mechanical, it's like 140. So it's like, I don't know. I think I question some of these things, but I don't necessarily do them. But I have a separate hybrid rate for Toyota because, I mean, if you're replacing, and really the hybrid battery is the only thing that you're going to be doing that you're going to use that rate. It's not like a Prius customer comes in for an oil change and I'm charging a higher door rate for it. But if they need to have that
electrified, brother, you gotta do it. Nah, I'm playing.
Well, yeah. I mean, if that hybrid system needs to be worked on, like I have 1 tech, 2 techs, that could possibly work on it, then I feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, no.
Go for it, Jay. No, go for it. Go for it.
No, yeah,
wild
I do
concept.
understand. I do understand that. Especially, I feel like, I mean, anything hybrid or even fully electrified, the customer should pay more, or even the manufacturer should pay more, because I mean, the dealership is putting more into it, the technician's putting more into it. I mean, even the advisors possibly putting more labor op codes if they're doing that, more stuff into it. Everybody's putting more stuff into it than they usually do for a regular gas car. So that should be justified. And it's a shame that some places, I mean, it isn't really like that. Like, I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like Toyota would be sleeping on the hybrid stuff. Like, I be seeing some of the stuff and I'm just like, bro, what? I don't know. I ain't gonna say nothing more because
they're consistent though. They're good. They kind of wait until everyone else's things hit the fan, and then they jump on, and it might seem slow or behind the times, but as an Audi tech, we jumped on the EV train, and now we're backpedaling. So you got to think it's like some Toyota and Lexus. They might be onto something by taking their time.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I agree. Sure. No, I'm talking about like for us, like for the dealerships, and like for labor times and stuff. That's what I'm talking about.
Labor time should be higher. They should all be higher. Have you guys heard the conspiracy about the all data times lowering?
They are.
I've seen that on Honda Tech's thing.
The big conspiracy about it. I don't know if we want to go into it. We're going to get canceled on YouTube or something, but in some of these states, I mean, with
I don't know enough about it to go into it. So
essentially, like, I think some of the legislation that's coming out with like warranty times in some of these states, and like they're trying to have a third party sort of verifying what the rates should be or what the flat rate times. And so now it's like all data times are mysteriously lowering, and people are like speculating that the manufacturers are like paying all data to lower the times. I hope it's just a wild rumor, but I don't know. Those are the kind of things I think are funny.
I hope it's not true. Let's just say that. I hope it's not. But I also could see in a world where it could be true. So I see why there's some conspiracy around it. And, I actually was just thinking about a post that I made on LinkedIn, and you commented on it about how you wanted to save that for this conversation. It was
Oh,
talking about
yes.
lowered labor times and how technicians can't share their repair processes and their shortcuts online or with each other because then warranty time comes down. Would you feel comfortable talking about it now?
Yeah, I think the one was I think the one I commented down on was you said something about the Ford CEO. Farley was talking about the tech shortage, which I don't know if that was like kind of in the same
It
post,
might have
but
been in the same one. Yeah.
the one, yeah, what I was referring to was like manufacturers pretending they care about a technician shortage because
Oh,
who pays the technicians at the end of the day? A dealership. A
dealership.
franchise dealer pays those paychecks. What good do technicians and mechanics do for a manufacturer? Like, you could maybe make the argument for brand loyalty, maybe, but like, do you really think the Ford CEO at the end of the day cares? No, he doesn't care. Like, he's trying to figure out how to produce these things at a super low cost. He's trying to but he wants to make you feel like he cares. But like, they don't care because they are trying to their business model, like they're going to pay warranty, right? So what's just like an insurance company, they're trying to pay out as little as possible because that affects their bottom line. It's the principle of follow the money. You have to follow the money. There's no incentive for Ford or the CEO of Ford to care about technicians and their paychecks. In fact, there's the opposite incentive. Now, again, you could probably make the argument it's going to hurt brand loyalty if these repairs are taking a long time and all that stuff. And I know Ford, I'll give them credit. So don't clickbait me a short version of like me saying that. Like, I will give them credit. They have done a lot with like this high school program. I don't know a ton about it, but I do know that like they will go in and like do certifications for high schoolers and like do job placements, different things. So I think as far as manufacturers go, like they do a lot. I just I don't really appreciate the CEO like coming out like this is his mission in life to solve this mechanic shortage issue because like it's not. It's just not. Now, he could talk about it and say, "Hey, here's the steps that Ford's doing to support the franchise dealers, that represent our brand so that they can hire more technicians, so they can staff more technicians." But like at the end of the day, it's not really their project. That burden falls on the dealers, to solve that problem.
Do you think if they, like you said, they don't have a reason to be involved, but if maybe they wanted to be involved, do you think that would help, or does that still kind of fall on the dealership practices and how they're doing things internally, and why techs are like, I don't want to work at that dealership because they're awful?
Again, who pays the technicians? Like, who employs the technicians? It's not Ford Motor Company. It's not Audi. It's not Toyota North America. Like, you're certified through them, but like, they don't come to you and give you a raise. Like, you have a spin number. Have you ever gotten points on your spin card? Have you ever gotten money on a spin card? Like, no. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
A long time ago.
yeah, like, again, I don't want that turning a negative thing, but I think it's just like the burden for the tech shortage falls on the dealer. And so the dealers that are doing things like career paths and sitting down with their technicians and caring and recruiting them young and having a system in place to train them up, whether you're paying an older guy to mentor, like just creatively trying to figure it out. I've done like 7 different mentor pay plans. I feel like, mentors and mentees and apprentices, like, let's just try to make it work. There's companies out there like Sonic Tools. They donated a toolbox to us earlier in the year because some of the stuff I did on social media and, for like the apprentices that we had. So like they could do some tools and, that was really cool. So again, the burden ultimately at the end of the day falls on the dealers. And I think it would be, if I was the CEO of Ford, I would probably be critical of my dealer body more because of that. Now I know Ford's kind of critical of, the leadership of the brand right now too. But, if I was the Ford CEO, my statement would be, here's how I'm going to support the dealers with like, here's how you should do technician recruiting. Here's how you should, attract them, retain them, develop them. I'll give you the game plan. Like, we'll develop it and do the research, and I'll give you the game plan. But like, they're the ones that have to play the game. The dealers have to play the game, not the manufacturer, when it comes to this topic.
100%. 100%.
And you could short form clip some of those and like get me in big trouble. So
No. They got enough on their plate to be worrying about what we're talking about. And whether they or any of the other brands care or don't care, it's like, at the end of the day, no matter what we say or what they say, it comes down to dealership management. It comes down to the leadership of the place. And all we can do is bring it up as their attention and get him talking about it. And maybe that's what he wanted to do. Maybe he had no intention of getting just more people to talk about it.
True.
Which definitely worked. Like, I've still seen so much stuff about that statement that he made, so mission accomplished.
Yeah, for a CEO to say all that is like,
yeah. It was kind of wild, but
the CEO of Toyota ain't never gonna say that.
No, not a chance. Toyota's a great brand. Toyota had a training that I went to, is the second round of it, about technician recruitment and different practices. And they did. I have a playbook. I have last year's version. I have this year's version of. They went so in depth as far as like, what does that first day look like? They give you a checklist for, what should you have set up for the technician, and like, what are best practices to recruit, retrain, or attain, whatever. It's getting late. To have technicians on your team. So there are some brand, like, I think Toyota's doing it right. I think I like a lot of things that Toyota does, but with that case, it's like, hey, dealers, like, here's all you need. They have the T10, Toyota program, technical schools that typically have very high enrollments. They work with dealers to place those kids. So like, they're figuring it out. They're doing it.
Yeah. Like for us, we have Southeast Toyota kind of back in the Southeast region for dealers and stuff. And they send us through this program called TACT for Toyota Apprentice Career Training. And then they partner up, like once you finish it, phase 1 and phase 2, they partner up with Sonic Tools, and they give you like, for each phase, they give you $1,250 worth of credit to spend with Sonic Tools. So it's stuff like that just keep technician retention and also bring technicians in. So it's good stuff like that, good practices.
Yeah. But then at the end of the day, like, it falls on the dealer, right, after that, to retain these guys and to treat them well. Like, the work you guys do matters so much. We have 2,500 customers, a month coming through the doors, and like, without technicians working on their cars, that is their transportation to and from work, to and from family activities, to and from, you name it. Like, that's how we travel. And without cars, your life stops, right? And so, technicians are the ones that are back there, like, doing that good work. And, it is kind of unfortunate that not a lot of technicians want to get up and talk to customers, because I do think that the outlook of the career would be much better and different if, like, you could really see the impact of your work. And, those customers that are just, they're so happy when they leave, and they can go continue to be at their job, they can continue to go pick their kids up from school, those sorts of things. Like, not to minimize that at all, because like, that's truly what happens. Like, people wait too long to get oil changes. Their car breaks down. Now they're screwed. Now they're out a ton of money. It's like, without technicians, we got to keep the cars moving. Now, I think you could do without service advisors.
Oh, that might be a whole nother hour's worth of conversation right there.
I didn't forget about that. The day the service advisors didn't show up, but
yeah.
You don't truly believe that.
Yeah, before we put a bow on this thing, something we were talking about before we started recruiting that kind of hits home for me is I was really curious to hear about how you got the buy-in from the dealership and the ownership to start, posting from, your place of work. And then you just mentioned it too, is like, could technicians benefit from using social media in the way that you do to build customer base for them to see into the shop and see how it goes?
Yeah. So one of the core values of our group, which we established a few years ago, we say we're working for TIPS. So that stands for transparent, innovative, personable, and servant-minded. And so the innovative piece of it, like, it's one thing just to say those are your core values, the innovative piece of it is like they do truly support people coming up with ideas and like trying things. So social media is a perfect example of that. It's like, we have a little bit of success here and there, and a lot of dealers would be like, no, we don't want you to do it. We don't want you. But then like I hired a technician off TikTok Live. Like I have a ton of candidates coming in for like service manager positions. There's been a bunch of really cool outcomes of it. But when I first started posting, it was the Loop Tech skit. So it was like the third skit I ever did. I didn't even think about it at the time. I had, Rorman Automotive Group on my shirt because typically I wear like a branded polo, to work, or a quarter zip or whatever it is. And so some of the comments were like, Bob Rorman sucks. They're a terrible dealer. Well, I got scared because I'm like, geez, if this many people are going to see it, like, I don't know. So that's why I really, and even when I film, like I try to keep the manufacturers out of it. Because it has caused, the kind of attention that we've had on some of the accounts, it's caused some of the manufacturers to reach out to, our CEO, who's the dealer principal. And, luckily he stands up for us and is like, hey, guys, I mean, this is free speech, guys. Like, I don't know what you want me to do about it. Like, it's not my company page. I can talk to him. Like, I'm not going to make him take it down. It is what it is. And so, having people that support you like that. But I cover the logos. And I don't know when I really started doing that. I think it was around the Loop Tech skit. It was like a year ago. So now I bought a couple cheap vests. So that's why it's like I have like 5 layers of shirts on a lot of times. I'm like, if I'm not wearing a vest, it's because I wore a shirt that day that didn't have, the logo on it. But yeah, typically if I'm wearing a vest, I have a Rorman Automotive Group logo on there. But I just was like, there was one other thing that happened. This might have been the triggering event. I did a manager talking to the Loop Techs about guys are leaving drain plugs loose. We had a tire fly off a car or whatever. Looking back on it, I probably should not have made that joke because that's very serious. Like a wheel flying off is a very serious thing. Like it's happened a couple times at our shop. Like it's happened, right? But probably not something to joke about because like that could cause. Anyway, long story short, some guy fired off in the comments about, I'm a terrible representative of blah, 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 blah. Well, I clapped back at him. I never do that. I clapped back at him. This like, first part of social media. Well, behind me in the skit, there was a thing that said RormanToyota.com. So that guy was smart enough after I clapped back on him to go to RormanToyota.com and send an email to, our director of operations, who's above me, my boss who's on there, and then the general manager of the store, basically like, hey, do you know this video is out there? Your guy representing your company like this, blah, 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 blah. And so that was like, all right, I need to really try to separate this. So I'm not shy about what I do and who I work for, but I definitely am not like presenting it out there in videos where if 1 million people see it, that, I could get some bad publicity out of it. So I don't know. There's more bad reviews from day-to-day business than my social media. So like, guys, what am I going to do? But it's tough to navigate. And I see why a lot of dealers draw the line that they do. I can appreciate it, from a corporate standpoint, and you don't want it to be the Wild West, but any precautions that I've taken are just out of my own respect and vision for like, okay, this could be kind of an issue with the company. And I don't want to create that. If they came to me tomorrow and said, we want you to be done with social media because this and this, I'd be like, realistically, I'd be like, okay, I can see that. Okay. Like I've done my best to separate it from the company, separate it from work hours. With my role, work hours can be blended and mixed, and I work late at night, early mornings, whatever. So like, but I do try to do it after hours when I film. I try to keep that separate, so I'm not in the way of business. It doesn't become this, which people still like, all you do is make TikToks, making fun of me. But everyone knows that like I record from 5 to 7 p.m. and that's just what I do because it's after work hours. Then nobody can say anything.
Yeah.
Hey, you handling it well, awesome, man, because it's going great.
Yeah, it is. I had even just some of the brand, like it's so hard to film at a dealership and not have like the brand in it.
Yes.
I've done a couple skits at like Hyundai and Kia, the stores, and like it's just amazing what people pick up on the internet. It's an empty shop, like neutral colors at Hyundai, whatever. There's a PDI parked like way in the back, and people recognize it as like a Hyundai Santa Fe, and it has like a sticker on it. I'm like, oh my gosh! And then they comment like, "That's a Hyundai dealer for you." Like, oh my god, how did they get that? Like, it's impressive. And then there's the ones, people are like, they guess everything. Looks like a Chrysler store. Looks like a that store. It's like, nah, you guys are way.
I mean, have you ever seen those videos like on Instagram of like these random guys? Like they pick a random place on Earth, and it's an image, and then they just find out the exact location. Like,
I don't believe those. I do not believe those.
You don't believe those, bro?
No, there's no way.
I mean, I feel you, but I've done some of those games, and I've looked at it, and I'm like, yes. And I'm just like,
you're telling me you can do that?
I mean, to a certain point, I'm catching a cramp. So I'm sorry. I just caught a mean cramp. Timeout. Oh my gosh.
The calf like cramp, you need to eat some bananas.
Oh. Nah, man. I need gravy, bro. I need the rotors and pads to go up to 2 hours. That's what I need. That's why I'm catching a cramp.
That's what we got.
You wish. What else do you guys want to know?
I don't know. I think we covered a lot of good stuff. I think, do you have any questions for us? Like, you mentioned technicians and stuff. Is there anything that you just want to learn or know
I was
about?
just kind of asked, like, why have you guys started doing social media?
Oh, go for it. Oh, okay. You're on your screen isn't mirrored right, but
so I was supposed to look this way.
There you go. Post production, we'll get that.
I'll flip you around. My mission, I guess you could say, has been to help technicians build value in whether it's their personal life or their work life. I just want to help technicians be more efficient and be better people, be better leaders. And I am an extremely efficient technician, so that's what I just help do. I help people, work on their processes, work on their communication, and I figured I can do it on such a larger scale and have it be such a interesting topic that no one's really doing. Some days are harder than other, but yeah, just want to help other techs be better than they were yesterday.
Yeah, on my end, it's more of like what I've been doing is like kind of DIY stuff, skits here and there, comedy, just same as you. Also trying to like paint a brighter picture on the automotive industry, kind of like, and especially on flat rate too. Like I've done a couple posts like that where I'm like, I mean, flat rate is like kind of one of like the only industries where you can like come into work. Like so many people crap on it, but like I can literally go into work tomorrow maybe and have a good day. I have a 10-hour shift and I literally pull like 25 hours and I don't feel like I've worked 25 hours. I feel like I've worked 10, grinding and stuff, but like it's beneficial when we're busy and stuff. So like, and then I also post like, I mean, yeah, between the skits, comedy, and freaking DIY, and also like instructional videos, trying to kind of promote like getting your certification. Like I feel like that's a big thing for me and the shop environment in my shop. Like everybody's like wants to chase that master certification. So, that's kind of what I'm trying to lean people's towards and help people out if they have any questions for me on getting those certifications.
And then how'd you guys team up? How'd you meet?
It was just kind of random. I don't even remember. I mean, I know we did like a live. We would get on we did like a live or two together. We were kind of like went back and forth on comments, and then we did a live or two together. And then I think somebody was like, "Oh, y'all should start a podcast." So we did a couple more lives, and then we're like, "Okay, we vibe really well," and we feel we're where I'm weak, he's strong, and vice versa. And I think we really complement each other very well. And I mean, this guy is 23 years old. He's MDT certified. He's in the military. He's a group leader. I mean, to be so young and set a good example is inspiring to me. And I know if it's inspiring to me, it's inspiring to so many other technicians that are struggling to get into the industry. And I saw that and I was like, I want to I want to be a part of this, what this guy's doing. He's doing good stuff and he's setting a good example. And so I don't know, he probably doesn't know that's how I feel about it, but he's doing great things.
Kurt's about to make me blush. He's messing, guys. I mean, no, I saw Curtis on social media, and like one of the first posts that honestly, like, kind of like when I looked at it, he was like, "Get off your phone with the flashlight." Like, Kurt, do you remember that video? Like, you were like,
that's when
like,
that's when I can still post in the shop.
Yeah, that's literally when you still post in the shop. And I was like, this guy. And I look through more posts, and I saw how he was actually like promoting like you being actually efficient in your job. You actually like not blaming everybody else, but looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, what do I need to fix to be efficient in a timely manner for Flat Rate and for my family and anything else I have going in my life. And then I just found those videos and I was like, oh, man, this guy's actually putting out good social media, not just saying like, get off your phone. And at first he was aggressive with it. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, dang, bro, not everybody can flag 120 hours a week. But, I mean, dude, Kurt is like, I mean, he was telling me about all those like year after year after year, averaging 70, 80, 90, 130 hours a week. And I'm just like, man, with a family, with a wife, with a home, so many responsibilities that I don't have yet. I'm 23 years old. I look up to him as a role model, and I keep on pointing that way because he's that way to me. But I look up to him as a role model, and I mean, dude, the guy is like. And then now he's on LinkedIn creating, like, he's connected me to people that I don't even know in the automotive industry. And I'm just like, wow, man, you're like, thank you so much for this opportunity for me to be along with you, man. It's a great pleasure, man. So, I mean, it's the same kudos he gives to me, I give it right back, man, because it wouldn't happen without this guy right next to me.
Have you guys met in person yet?
No. Not yet.
The beauty of the internet, I guess.
Yeah.
So wait, where are you located? You're Southeast Toyota, so you're what, Florida?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm in Houston.
Okay. I saw you did some stuff with Northwood. I was almost like, is he up there in Michigan?
So I've been doing a lot of stuff with Ted Ings.
Yeah.
He saw some of my videos and has invited me to so many events this year, and I've tried to take it opportunity as many as I can, because I guess you could say is I want to be the voice for the technicians at the table where we don't have a voice usually when it comes to conversations and decisions that about our futures and our livelihood. And so that was kind of, I guess he found that and is giving me the opportunity to really speak up. And I feel like I try to keep very level-headed, not side too much with text, not side too much with management, and just be like, here's a big picture from all sides. And, it's not fair for everybody, but that's just the way it is. And this is how we can move forward. And that I was thinking about that video you just said, and it reminded me, it was me. It's like, hey, do you want to flag 20 hours? And then I was like, shine my light in the camera, and it was like, it went white and it said, then get off your phone.
That's good.
But
or get out of the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's gross. That's gross when people sit in a work bathroom for I'm like, I don't want to be in there on the bathroom in like a public restroom. That's disgusting.
Like 20 minutes.
Oh, like I'm in and out. Like I don't want to be doing that.
Wait, 20 minutes doing what though? Like, I mean, on the toilet, like y'all not on the toilet for 20 minutes?
Social media.
I did that was another one of the skits I did that was based on true events. I'm like, got a waiter, where's this guy at? And then it ends in the bathroom. I'm like, come on, dude.
He's watching those dealer plate.
I'm not gonna lie, that was
me
accidentally today.
So dumb.
I'm pretty sure I was in the bathroom for like 20 minutes today, just sitting down, scrolling. I'm like, oh, I got a waiter. Hold on.
I did one. I made fun of some of the texts. There's a couple of texts that I've known them forever, obviously, because they were like around at the Toyota store when I started. So there's one of them that's just notorious for always being in the manager's office, just hanging out, like not doing anything. Did you guys? I don't know if you saw it. I did. It was like such a dumb video. I didn't expect it to take off like it did. But do you guys have the guys at your shop that just go in the manager's office, sit down, just play on their phone?
You see the advisors.
Usually the advisors, yeah. I would say it usually is the advisors, but they probably need a break sometimes if customers are yelling at them. But yeah, the technicians. It was funny though. The first comment was a tech that used to work for us that works for one of the stores that we sold in the town a couple of years ago. He still works there. His first comment was the other tech's name, and it was the first comment on my video.
That's
The
hilarious.
guy
I
was
knew
making
exactly who you're talking about.
Oh, it was hilarious. I love it. That's the kind of stuff about this business, man. It's fun, and the relationships. So it's cool seeing what you guys are doing because, like, one of the things I think that the content that I'm putting out there is like doing so well is just because there's not a lot of people exposing or even talking about service and parts, and especially technicians. Like, kind of when I started, I saw the guys that were doing like transmission rebuilds, and I don't even know what the heck they're doing, to be honest with you. But like, I would watch it because it's cool. And then TE videos was another one that I watched, and like, it's just like such cool content, but not a lot of technicians are doing it. So yeah, it's cool that you guys are putting it out there, especially like Curtis. It sounds like your store maybe drew a line with filming. So for you to like pivot and continue to do it, it's cool to see. Like your passion and heart behind it. It's like it's genuine. And it wasn't just like I'm just gonna film my day and make kind of like what everyone else does. It's like they tell you can't film at the dealership. It would have been easy for you just to say, well, I'm just not going to do anything then. So, kudos to you guys for sure.
Been hard. My creativity has taken a beating over the last year, but yeah, I'm standing by it because I believe in it. And so just work with what I got.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you want to wrap a bow up on this thing, close us out?
Yes, sir. Well, I don't have anything for you guys. I'm sure you guys don't have anything for me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming on to this podcast and watching this brand new episode that will be released soon. Thank you, guys. This is our guest, Austin dude, hold up. I got to restart that, bro. Hey, it is literally, bro, it's 10:30, bro. My brain is getting fried, bro. Oh my God. That's a blooper that is getting cut the freak out. All right, let me do that again.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, so I'm posting that, bro. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on another episode of the WOT Podcast. We had a special guest, as you can see up above, Austin Conroy, aka Dealer Plate Guy. Thank you very much for hopping on. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on the next one.